The sun doesn't shine every day. The storms will come. There are times when the nights will be long and dark and you will be alone. There will be times when the darkness seems to consume everything, but don't let it consume you. We all fail. It's okay. What's not okay is when you fail and stay down. Whoever stays down is a loser. Winners will fail and get up, fail and get up, fail and get up. You always get up. That is what makes a winner. I can accept failure. Everyone fails at some point. I cannot accept not trying. It is your losses that will humble you. It is your losses that will give you drive. It doesn't matter what happened yesterday. It doesn't matter what happens to you. The only thing that matters is what you're going to do about it. As long as you're here, you have a chance to transcend yourself. You can decide that you're going to stand up to life. It's necessary that you take responsibility for that. You don't give up. You don't take any objection, disappointment, or defeat personally. So yes, I'm in charge here. I'm going to do something about this situation. When you embark on this journey, you must know that it's going to go down before it comes up. When it comes up, it's going to go so much higher than you've ever been. Sacrificing today for tomorrow's betterment is necessary. If you didn't know that, if you didn't prepare for that, you might think something's wrong. Maybe it's time to stop. No, it's time to move even further. You have to be equipped mentally to endure this process. Knowing what you're about to go through is step one. Knowing it's an uphill battle, but a winnable one, and one that's achievable. Only those who are willing to risk going too far can possibly find out how far they can go. I want to see how far I can go. I want to see what I can accomplish, what I can do, what I can be, what I can have. I want to see. I don't want to see what I think I can do. I don't want to see what I think is possible. I want to see what my life would look like if I didn't count this off. Because if you count the cost and see how much it costs, you might quit. So you've got to go in knowing that you don't count the cost. You do as many push-ups as it takes, as many sit-ups as it takes, as many reps as it takes. You pay whatever the price is. You get to a point where you don't count it. You just do whatever it takes to get whatever you want. Before you start anything, consider the commitment level. If you commit to something, you don't stop until you win. Wake up in the morning, rise and grind. Join that health club. Don't quit. Start that business, don't quit. Your mind has got to be steadfast. Your mind's got to be locked in no matter what. Because we are champions. We never quit. The official definition of self-discipline is the ability to control one's feelings, to overcome one's weaknesses. It's also the ability to pursue what one thinks is right, despite temptations to abandon it. See, the problem with you is you rarely exercise your self-discipline muscle. You just go with the flow, no backbone whatsoever. And that's perfectly fine until you start whining and complaining about your lack of success. Whining and complaining about your lack of progress, whining and complaining that you're not gaining any momentum and you can't seem to get ahead in life. You're wasting a bunch of percentage here. We have 80% more that we're not tapping into because in this other 80% is suffering. Pain, failure, self-doubt, darkness, and then a whole bunch of lights. But to get to this light, we've got to go through all of this. A lot of us know that we can get over here, but over here is much better. We've got to go through this journey that is not fun. From 20% to 100%, this shite in between is not fun. So we decide to live over here. Everybody asks how you do that. You know exactly how to do it. It's not a magic trick. There's nothing I talk about that's a magic trick. It all comes down to a very primitive mindset. It's like breathing. Breathing becomes normal, like we don't even notice that we're doing it. That's how you have to live your life. The truth of the matter is that you have a lot of potential as a child, but none of that can manifest itself as freedom before you become disciplined. Discipline is a matter of the imposition of order, and order is necessary, especially for people who are hopeless and nihilistic. What does it mean? It doesn't mean I hate getting up at 8 o'clock in the morning to get ready for work. That just means you're not very disciplined. It might mean something deeper, but I'd start with lack of discipline before rearranging your whole life. You might say, well, I hate getting up at 8 o'clock in the morning no matter what I'm doing, and then it's not your job. I don't mean don't do difficult things. I mean watch yourself. If you see that you're doing things that make you hate yourself, then consider the cost of continuing. If something's valuable, you'll make sacrifices to attain it. That discovery of sacrifice is what separates humans from animals. We discovered that we could let go of something we value in the present and gain something we value even more in the future. When that alarm clock goes off at 4 or 5 in the morning, your mind says no. You just say, this is what we do. It's what we do now, because to get to where you want to go, the amount of pain involved in not saying physical and not saying you've got to break yourself off, but the amount of mental pain of how many times you're going to have to do something you don't want to do to get to where you want to go. When I was 297 pounds and fat as hell, trying to be a Navy SEAL, the scariest thing in the world to me, even to this day, was that could have been the rest of my life. I thought then I was trying hard. That's the scariest thing in the world. I thought then, 297 pounds, working for Ecolife, spraying for cockroaches, making $1,000 a month. That was me at my 100% potential. Coming to find out a few years later, I wasn't anywhere near that. 106 pounds less, I graduated Navy SEAL training and went on to do all these other things. Looking back on that, that was me trying hard. That's why people have to understand what is in us. We have no idea until we start trying hard. And I mean really trying hard. When you're obsessed with, hey, this is my new norm. My new norm is that, wow, this isn't always fun. It's not always meant to be fun, and that's when you know you're trying hard. As C.C. Lewis said, hardships often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny. People look at their past to decide who they are. People look at their past to decide who they can be. But the problem is, oftentimes people mistake difficulties, suffering, pain for being bad, being less than, being broken, and it erodes their sense of self-esteem. It erodes their sense of self-worth. But nothing could be more opposite from the truth. Because in reality, no matter what you've gone through, no matter how hard it was, all of it was shaping you into the person that you can become. The hardships, the difficulties, the pain, the suffering, all of that makes you tougher. It is literally in the difficulties that you begin to find just how much you're capable of. It's in the suffering that you find out how resilient you are. It's in the pain that you can rise up and get tough. And all of that is going to serve you as you move forward. But you have to know how to frame it. You have to know how to think about it. You have to know that whatever you've been through, all of it is an opportunity to learn. All of it is an opportunity to grow. All of it is an opportunity to get better. But you have to use it to shape yourself. You have to lean into it. You have to know that the pain and the suffering, all of it is serving you. But if you're telling yourself a story that diminishes you, if you're telling yourself a story that bad things have happened to you or you've done bad things, and that makes you a bad person, then none of it is going to help you. You're always going to move backward. And it's going to be this stress and this pressure that's pushing you backwards. Instead, if you can put it behind you and let it push you forward, it propels you to be more. Then no matter what's happened to you, you can become something truly extraordinary. As David Livingstone said, I'll go anywhere provided it be forward. You can't wait for somebody else to make your life better. You've got to make your life better. You've got to focus on you. Now, I'm not saying forget the rest of the people, but I'm telling you to get rid of the things that are not making you strong, that are not making you better, that are not making you efficient, that are not putting you in a better place, that are not giving you the strength that you need to keep living the life that you have been giving, the life that you have been given. Don't give up on life, because once your life is over, you can't come back. Leave your mark. Help someone. Lift someone up when they're down. Be the strength for others when they're weak. And maybe when you're at the weakest point in your life, someone will lift you up, because we all struggle. No one is immune to it. So keep fighting for it. Don't give up. It's not easy out there. People are always saying you can't, that you shouldn't, you're not smart enough, not good enough. This world beats you up again and again until eventually most people just stop trying. But you're not like that. You're a fighter. You always have been. You can break physically. You can break mentally. You can break your heart. You can break your spirit, and all of those are going to leave a mark. But the mark that they leave can be the mark of victory, or it can be the mark of defeat. This too shall pass if you grasp for a new beginning, if you pull yourself up and move back into the world with a plan. So, as foolish as it might sound, be thankful for your current limitations or failures, for they are building blocks from which to create greatness. You can go where you want to go. You can do what you want to do. You can become what you want to become. You can do it all starting now, starting right where you are. There is no excuse for not trying. Where you are right now doesn't have to determine where you'll end up. No one's written your destiny for you. You write your own destiny. You make your own future. You will change the world. Even when you're struggling, even when you're discouraged and you feel like other people have given up on you, don't ever give up on yourself. You've got to keep trying and trying and trying. You've got to have enough resolve to do it until. So be grateful for adversity, but for your future, make it work for you, not against you. Make your failures give birth to great opportunity, not prolonged agony. Make your disgust lead to inspiration, not depression. The world will willingly sit by and let you wallow in your sorrows until you die broken and alone. And here's what else the world will do. The world will step aside and let you by once you decide that your present situation is only temporary. Once you decide to get back on your feet and make your mark, the world doesn't care which choice you make, to stop here or to go on. The world doesn't really care, but you have to care. Give a run at adventure. Keep your eyes firmly on the achievement, on your ambition, and not merely on the existence of self-pity. Make a commitment to excellence. Success is something you attract by the person you become. Success is something you attract like a magnet by the person you become. Every level of success that you want to achieve in health, wealth, relationships, career, business, etc., requires a new understanding of a skill and a new behavioral pattern. What got you to where you are is not enough to get you to where you want to go. Why do I say that? Because if it was enough to get you to where you want to go, you would already be there. So what got you here will not get you there. Maybe some stepping stones, but every level of success requires a new level of skill and behavior. And going to go back to one of the other lessons, since we develop beliefs and habits and behaviors that go from conscious effort to non-conscious habit. In order to achieve the next level of success, you have to learn how to create new habits of thought, new emotional management skills, and new behaviors to match the level of success that you want to achieve. There are 5 things you need to change how you're feeling. If right now you're not where you want to be, 1 or more of these 5 are out. If you change all 5 of these things, there's zero question your entire life will change. Now, to make it really simple, I am going to form a triangle. In the middle of it is what controls your life. So number 1, everything. These are called the 5 to thrive. Everything that determines the quality of your life is based on the mental and emotional state you're in right now. If you're feeling really angry, life is angry. If you're feeling playful, you're going to find enjoyment and humor. Everything is your state, and so the quality of your life is where you live emotionally or the state you're in most often. If you are not in the state you want, you've got to change it. How can we change our state? Let's start with the core 3 elements that control how you feel and the meanings you give your life. There are 3 triggers in this triangle. First is the way you use your physical body, or what we call physiology. Write down physiology first. If I want to change the way I feel, the fastest way for me to do that is a radical change in my body. So if I talk like this and I drop my shoulders and rub my face and go, I don't know. I don't know. I will never know because this physiology puts me in an uncertain state. But if I make a radical change in my movement or my voice or my face or my eyes or my gesture, instantaneously it changes my biochemistry, and what I'm going to do changes like that. Remember yesterday we talked about hands on the hips, Superman or Wonder Woman style, shoulders back for 2 minutes. And now, boom, in 2 minutes, testosterone flows 20% more through your system. Cortisol drops 33%. And you're more than a third more likely to take action. And you're more than a third more likely to take action. That's just standing, and that's physiology. Physiology can be static, standing, or it can be dynamic. If it's dynamic, your biochemistry is going to change even quicker. So, a change in your voice right now, wherever you are, try this for a second. How many can remember a time when you were a little kid and you just made weird noises and people wanted you to shut up, but you had a great time? Whoever did this as a kid, making weird noises, how many of you like to sing? When no one's around, raise your head, say I, say I. Why are you saying I when no one's around? You sound like hell, but you don't care because it feels good. Because singing, using your voice, changes your body. So right now, just do me a favor. Wherever you are, don't care who's there. Make the sound of total excitement, like you're excited out of your mind, like a little kid. Go ahead, go for it. Come on. Bien, all day. How do you recognize and overcome fear? Well, you pay attention. You become mindful. You sit and take some deep breaths and ask yourself some really good questions. What fears are holding me back? Just get real. Get real with yourself. Don't be afraid. Be afraid of the truth. If you understand the truth and then you have some knowledge and skills to work through, you can change that. So take 6 calming breaths is the first inner size. I'm going to give you a slight variation of take 6 calming breaths as you do the next inner size, and it's called awareness, intention, and action. In this particular inner size, you take 6 rhythmic deep breaths to calm the circuits. But here's a slight variation. This is a little bit more advanced. So what you do is, as you breathe in, you say in the back of your mind, I breathe in calmness, I breathe out fear. So it goes like this. As you are breathing in calmness, feel yourself getting calm from a level 10, fearful, to 8, to 6, to 4, to 2, just letting go of the fear, just letting go of the fear. And as you breathe in calmness and you breathe out fear, I want you to visualize fear leaving your body. Just release it. Remember, it's a neurochemistry that you're feeling. So what you do is you give your brain the instruction of what you want. I breathe in calmness, I breathe out fear. Or, I breathe in calmness, I breathe out stress. Or, I breathe in calmness, I breathe out anxiety. Just a few seconds of that is the first part of the inner size. Just a few seconds of that is the first part of the inner size. Then what you do is, right after you do that, you now become aware. Have a piece of paper next to you and in the awareness state. What you want to do is become aware. Awareness of thoughts, feelings, emotions, sensations, and behaviors. Thoughts, feelings, emotions, sensations, and behaviors. So the first part is you become aware. No shame, no blame, no guilt, no judgment, no justification, just pure awareness. Then you ask yourself in this calm, relaxed state, where you're able to respond, what's my intention right now? Is my intention to be fearful? No. Is my intention to be courageous? Yes. Is my intention to overcome my fear? Yes. Great. So you have the awareness, you set one intention, not 5, one intention. And then the last A is action. What is one action I could take? What action towards achieving whatever goal I have? So maybe one action is I'm going to write 1 line of my book. One action is I'm going to make 1 phone call. One action is I'm going to ask for help. One action to move you away from what you don't want. One question that I get asked all the time is, How was I able to stay positive and motivated during what was certainly the worst time? I lost my money, I lost my freedom, I lost my children for a time. My wife bottomed out, right? And I said, I think about it. I think about it. I said, here's the secret. When I was in jail in those moments, in the worst moments of all, were at nighttime when you're in your bunk and people were sleeping. You're alone with your thoughts and you just really get negative. The answer was that in bed, when I was alone with my thoughts, I would close my eyes and visualize the faces of my 2 children. I closed my eyes and saw their faces. I knew I could let them down so badly, cause them so much pain. And I said, there's nothing I won't do. There's no length I won't go to prove to these kids that their dad can do it right. Their dad's going to come back even better than before. It was all about proving to my children that you could come back from failure, that you could make the world right and be an example, make them proud of me. That was my why. Why? It was all about my kids. And that's the secret, your why. It's never about you. You mean somebody wealthy, their family at one point was not wealthy. And then the one shows up. The one day, one person changes the family tree forever. In my family, I'm the one. And it wasn't because I wanted it or I hoped for it. I fought for it. I want to win. I want to fight for my family. I want my mom and dad proud of me. I want my kids proud of me. I want me proud of me. I want to look in the mirror and be happy with the man I look back at, that he gave it everything, that he went for it. That is you. That is you. No one can do it for you but you. And even though you face disappointments, even though you will experience some setbacks, it goes with the territory. You must understand that. But here's the truth. Most people's dreams can be boxed. With enough failure, with enough rejection, they will sell their dreams. They can't still fight. They get a little bit, but when it gets a little too hot, they'll say, so, buy the greens. You can have it. It's not worth it for me. And their will to win is violated. You can buy it, yes. But if you decide, my will cannot be boxed. I don't care how long it takes. You can't buy this shootout. I'll keep fighting for my family. I'm the one. I'm going to change my family tree forever. That's the decision. Decide now. You're going to keep negotiating the price, or can you not be bothered? And, man, when people die, or people get sick, or something happens in your life, if all you're doing it for is a car and a house, that can stop you. But if you're doing it for your mom, for your siblings, for your family, for your community, this will change civilization. My colleagues were not interested in this work because they didn't want to understand it. The pharmaceutical industry does not want us to teach how you can heal yourself. The universe is made of energy, and energy behaves like waves in water. In fact, energy moves through water, and this is how energy waves interact. I dropped 2 rocks of the same size from the same height at the same time, and they hit the water. The ripples created are in phase and move toward each other. The question is, what happens when the waves meet while they are in phase? The result is a more powerful wave, known as constructive interference. There is an opposite effect. This time, I dropped the 2 rocks from the same height. One was dropped slightly before the other. The ripples move toward each other, but they are out of phase. One wave is going up, while the other is going down. These waves can interfere and cancel each other out, which is called destructive interference. You have all experienced this in your life. For example, let's say it's Saturday night, and you have to go to a party even though you're tired. When you meet some people who are in harmony with you, their energy and yours are in phase, giving you more energy and making you feel more alive. You walk around feeling energized and on your toes, experiencing high constructive interference. Conversely, if you are in a place that feels threatening or uncomfortable, you might feel your energy being drained. This is due to destructive interference, where the energy in the environment conflicts with you, canceling out your own energy. All animals and plants communicate through vibration. For example, a gazelle doesn't need to ask the lion if it's a friend because the gazelle can sense the energy from a distance and avoid it if the vibes are negative. If we were taught to be sensitive to these vibrations, we would avoid bad relationships and negative environments. However, we are usually encouraged to ignore our feelings and listen to what people say instead. Language was designed to obscure feelings. The key point is that all organisms communicate through vibrations and can sense whether they are in a good or bad place by reading these vibrations. If you're in a good place or a bad place, you can gauge this by reading the vibrations around you. Humans have this ability, but are often not trained to use it. In a moment, I will show you how vibrations change the proteins in your body. Proteins provide us with our structure and function, so vibrations can alter our health. This is a picture of a gold atom. While you can see it with an electron microscope, if I gave you a camera to fly through the atom, take pictures from one side to the other, the developed images would come back blank. Now, consider a tornado. If you drive your car at 150 kilometers per hour straight into it, it would be like hitting a stone wall. The car would be destroyed. Yet, you can still see the tornado. If you removed the dirt and dust and drove across an open field at 150 kilometers per hour, it would feel like a clear day. You would still hit an invisible barrier. The reason is that atoms are like miniature tornadoes. All atoms create waves. Are you made of atoms and molecules? If so, you are emitting and absorbing light and energy. According to new physics, you are essentially energy waves interacting with each other in the room right now. What's interesting is that in medicine, we don't study energy. The reason is that drug companies sell chemicals, not energy. Medicine does not fully understand disease because it focuses only on particles and matter. Newtonian physics advocated for studying only the body, while quantum physics suggests that matter and energy are connected. The new physics brings the concept of the mind, which is energy, back into the discussion of the body. As Albert Einstein said, the mind is the field that gives shape to the body. What you believe and think can influence your body. When we look at people, whether I look at the audience or you observe us, we see physical particles and machines, but that's an illusion. In reality, we are interacting waves. That's why one person can affect another just by being in the same field. Every cell in your body has a negative voltage on the inside and a positive voltage on the outside. Every live cell acts like a battery, with each cell having about 1.4 volts. With 50 trillion cells in the body, this amounts to 70 trillion volts of electricity. Through training and meditation, you can focus this energy, known as Cha, and use it for healing. The problem lies in our beliefs. 40 years ago, I started working with stem cells. While many think stem cells are a new discovery, I have learned a great deal about them. Each of you has stem cells throughout your body that can replace any tissue or organ, potentially allowing you to stay young for hundreds of years, as Greg will discuss. You might wonder why we ages. The answer is that the mind controls the cells and genes, and we collectively believe in aging. I published this work in 1977, titled A Fine Structural Analysis of Normal and Modulated Cells in Myogenic Culture. While the title may sound complex, it signifies the first scientific report showing how the environment controls the fate of cells. I used the term modulated to mean altered, as there were no other words to describe it. My colleagues were not interested in this work because they did not want to understand it. In my book on cell biology, particularly in Chapter 2, I present scientific evidence that genes do not solely control biology. I also introduce you to the exciting discoveries of epigenetics, a new field of biology that is unraveling the mysteries of how the environment influences the behavior of cells without changing the genetic code. I titled Chapter 2, It's the Environment, Stupid, a play on President Bill Clinton's campaign slogan. It's the economy, stupid. 5 months after I wrote my book, despite skepticism from some who questioned my credentials because I wasn't at a university, One of the most prestigious journals in the world, Nature, published an article discussing how stem cells are engaged in constant communication with their environment. This article confirmed what I had been saying for 30 years. Science is beginning to acknowledge that the environment plays a crucial role in cell behavior. According to the latest understanding, 95% of people could lead healthy, happy lives if they change their thoughts and beliefs. The mind is a primary factor in illness on our planet today. By becoming more conscious, we can create the world we want, and ultimately, this could lead to a kind of heaven on earth. I will explain the science of how cells actually work, and you'll gain more knowledge than most doctors today, because many still focus primarily on genes. Every cell in your body has a negative voltage inside and a positive voltage outside. Each living cell functions like a battery with approximately 1.4 volts. With 50 trillion cells in the body, that's a total of 70 trillion volts of electricity right now. Through training and meditation, you can focus this energy, known as qi, and use it for healing. With such a high voltage, theoretically, people could even self-combust. Every function in your body is present in each cell. For every organ in your body, the cell has an organelle, which is like a miniature organ. Textbooks often equate the nucleus with the brain, but this is not accurate. The nucleus is more like a gonad and is not the brain. It is involved in the reproduction of cellular components. If you are dead but still have your protein body, what's missing is the signal. When a signal binds to a protein, it causes the protein to move and behave in certain ways. If you are healthy, this behavior is normal. If you are diseased, the behavior is abnormal. Disease can result from either faulty proteins or faulty signals. Faulty proteins are usually the result of birth defects. If you were born with defective genes and these genes produce defective proteins, the proteins will be faulty. However, less than 5% of the population has such birth defects, meaning 95% of people should theoretically be able to live healthy lives. If you were once healthy and are now sick, the issue could be due to one of three things: trauma, such as injuring your back, toxins, chemicals disrupting body chemistry, or thoughts, the mind sending incorrect signals. The third factor, thoughts, is crucial because it means that changing your mindset can alter your biology. The mind is a primary cause of illness. The key mechanism controlling your biology is perception. Your perception, how you view the world, affects your biology. Contrary to the common belief that genes turn on or off, genes do not make decisions. A gene is a blueprint that is either rare, not read till. Perception controls the signal, so you are not a victim of your gene. You have control over them. A single gene blueprint, through epigenetic control, can produce around 30,000 different proteins. Therefore, you could have healthy genes but develop conditions like cancer or diabetes due to epigenetic factors. This shifts responsibility for your health to you, rather than making you a victim of your genes. Despite this, the media often perpetuates the myth that genes control everything, causing people to worry about their genetic predispositions. As Greg Braden noted, focusing on disease can lead to its development through epigenetics. Currently, about 95% of cancer cases are not due to mutant genes, but to epigenetic factors. These factors can be inherited. But unlike genes, you can change your epigenetics at any time. By changing your perception, you alter how your genes are read. If you believe you're going to develop a disease because a doctor said so, you might actually bring about that disease. It appears that about 95% of cancer cases are not caused by mutant genes, but by epigenetic factors. These factors can be inherited from parents, similar to genes, but the key difference is that you can change your epigenetics at any time. By changing your perception, you alter how your genes are expressed. If someone tells you that you will develop a disease and you believe it, you may indeed manifest that disease. You are not just a single entity, but a community of 50 trillion cells. It's important to understand the concept of a community in this context. Each cell is intelligent. But within the community, cells give up their individual intelligence and respond to the central directive of the community. If the central voice says to die, the cells will comply. The central voice is the mind, which receives signals from both the internal and external environments. The brain's function is to perceive, interpret, and then relay these signals to the cells to regulate behavior and genetic activity. Thus, the brain's role is to perceive, which in turn creates the mind. You've likely heard of the placebo effect, where a positive belief that something will heal you, even if it's just a sugar pill, can actually lead to healing. Statistics show that 1/3 of all medical healings, including surgeries, are due to the placebo effect. Medicine often overlooks the nocebo effect, where negative thinking can have harmful effects. Just as positive thinking can lead to improvement, negative thinking can be detrimental. For instance, if a doctor tells you that you have a disease or that you will die, and you believe the doctor because of their authority, this belief can lead to the manifestation of the disease or even death. Therefore, belief plays a crucial role in medicine. Many people are aware of the drug Prozac, which costs billions annually. Surprisingly, Prozac is no more effective than a sugar pill. It acts as a placebo. Yet, people who believe in the drug often experience improvement. This highlights that belief can make something beneficial or harmful. If we have the potential to be healthy and youthful, why do we get sick? One major reason is stress. Stress hormones mobilize the body's energy for fight or flight responses, shutting down functions that are not needed during these times, including the immune system. Stress hormones suppress the immune system, which is critical for fighting off pathogens. The reality is that everyone is infected with various germs, viruses, bacteria, and parasites. If I took a blood sample, you'd find these pathogens in your body. However, if your immune system is functioning properly, it keeps these organisms in check. When stress impairs the immune system, these pathogens can start to proliferate, leading to illness. The concept that you catch a disease is misleading. You already have the disease within you. These pathogens are considered opportunistic organisms that exploit a weakened immune system. When you experience illness, medical treatment often focuses on eliminating germs or bacteria, which is beneficial for acute situations. However, the underlying issue is stress, which needs to be addressed to promote true healing. Thus, it's essential to not only treat the disease, but also manage the stress.